Okay, great, guys. Guys, everyone, welcome to Friday Night Live, another Friday Night Live here, the only hockey show in Scotland. Hope you all enjoy tonight. We're going to have Tim Turk do a presentation on shooting. I think everybody should know Tim. Tim's a shooting coach out of Canada, has worked with all the best NHLers in the world, been going for a long time. And I don't think I'm going to say much more than that, but just let Tim go and let him do what he does. Just if everyone remembers, just put it onto speaker view and keep it on mute, and then we'll go to questions at the end. All right, Tim, over to you.
Perfect. Thanks. You know what? First, guys, I feel very grateful and blessed to have the opportunity to come on your Sunday Night Live. One of the things, before I get going on things here, one of the things I was mentioning while you guys were all jumping in on the session is that it's important for people like myself and the coaches that I surround myself with and the people that I present to share as much information as possible when it comes to our sport. But the one thing you'll find about our sport is it ties into and it's complementary to all other sports. So if you guys are, more specifically the younger athletes and you players out there, if you're doing other sports, I'm really happy for that, because the things that you do, the motion patterns, you're using your hips, you're using your arms, you're using your legs, stuff like that can be translated all the way back into our sport, which I feel is the greatest sport in the world is hockey. Now, I'm not sure it's the number one sport in other countries, but it is definitely becoming super popular. And you know what, Martin, I really appreciate and can't thank you enough. So here's a little bit about me just quickly. And don't get angry at me for talking your ears off. I could talk to your ears off a cornfield if I need to, and especially when it comes to shooting and scoring. So I've been a specialist, I'm going to say, and I'm not here to tell people what they want to hear. This is what and where I come from and how it's done. A shooting specialist for about my whole life, actually, and 5 years this year at the NHL level. And I've worked with so many different hockey federations and national teams and during that time period. So you are definitely, everyone here, you're talking to the most blessed person in the world to be able to do what I do and wake up every day and teach shooting and scoring. So for the younger players out there, I'm going to start off by sharing my screen. I want to be able to give you a visual on some of the terminologies and the techniques that I'm teaching all players from around the world. And this would be a really great opportunity for you guys. Now, if there's any issues, Kinger, you let me know if you guys don't see anything or hear anything. But so the first visual I want to give everybody is this one here. So a thumbs up if you can see Brendan Gallagher plays for the Montreal Canadiens. Thanks, Kinger. This particular formation that he's shooting in, the way his body looks, the lower body, as a right-handed shooter, you can see his right leg is going back, similar to what I call the stride formation release. So this stride formation, now there's so many ways that you youngsters and you young players can shoot a puck, the way you look, the way it comes off your stick. There's all kinds of different variations of what your body can do. But when you perfect this actual formation, what it does, it sets all kinds of different abilities to be aligned properly. So alignment is like, for you kids out there, all the wheels on a car is going in one direction, and that keeps the car going straight. All of a sudden, one of the wheels turns in, then there's an issue with the alignment. So it's the same thing with your body when you're shooting. You want to make sure you have good body alignment, and this particular position that this player's in helps to set that for you and you alone. So that's for a right-handed shot. That's what you'd look like when you're releasing the puck. And there's a lot of other good things here that I can point out, where the hand positioning is and the elbow position and the knee position. And we're going to get to that. But I just want you to see what that looks like as an actual right-handed shooter. Here's what it looks like as a left-handed shooter. See that left leg going back like that, guys? And that's pretty important. And again, there's other things in these particular pictures or illustrations that you can see different hand positioning, where they are, how close they are to the body, the distance between the player's feet. There's a lot of different criteria going on there that I'll touch on as we go through. But just wanted you to see that. Lefties, left leg back. Righties, when you shoot, it's right leg back. Like that. Righties, right leg back. That's called the stride formation release. And I'll reiterate over and over again, that is the foundation to doing anything else with your body, that particular formation. So let me show you a couple of videos here now. If it's too loud, I've got a Marty, I got a microphone hooked up here, so I can't hear anything. I can maybe mute it, but I just want you guys to watch this particular video and just see when the lefties. This is NHL in-game examples. I want you guys to watch as this video goes on. I'll play it a couple of times and then I'll come back, Marty, so you can let me know if it didn't lag too much with everybody's Wi-Fi signaling. So here we go. I'll let it play through and I'll be quiet for a minute. Lefties, left leg back. Righties, right leg back when they shoot. The stride formation. Except for this one. But that's in there for a reason. So just so you can see here, this is Zach Rowensky. He's the master of that fake clapper slap shot. I don't know if you guys have seen that, where he takes a shot and just stickles over the puck really quick. He's the guy that mastered that. But there's his left leg going back in that particular formation with great body alignment when he takes that shot. You know, and you can see one of the things that's evident to see is that when the shot's taking place, everybody, one of the things you can recognize, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor going over top of this player's elbow here, and I'll explain exactly what the terminologies are, the motion patterns and stuff as we get going on here. But you can see that elbow it's elevated, it's up. So if you're a righty and your top hand's up here, then that elbow, the more elevated it is, the more space it creates. It's really cool how that space can work as a beneficial type of thing that helps you to be deceptive and speed up your release. And here it is as a lefty going back there. And then this, you can see there's that particular left leg going back. There's the elbow with the hand positioning beside the body. I just want you can tell I'm reiterating because I'm going to get to something here and it's kind of important. You'll see when you're shooting a puck how that helps you to become more powerful, deceptive, and explosive when you're shooting. There's that elbow up nice and high. There's the right leg going back as a righty, which is a great example for you youngsters out there to see that. Now this particular example, and I don't mean to talk your ears off, but this particular example, you can see the player's target is over to his right, but his motion or his route or the way he's traveling is across the target, but still gets the opportunity to get that right leg back. So you can see that particular player is using that formation to their benefit. Really, really good on that one there. Now, this one here, I put this one in here because a lot of players, when they shoot, guys, when we're righties, if the puck's on the right side of us, we always pull it in to take our shot. If we're lefties, we always pull it inward. It's like a large percentage of that preparation, getting ready to shoot, comes in. In this particular case, this player here is in what I call a parallel formation when he releases the puck on a single leg. So what I wanted to reiterate and want you guys to see in this particular shot is the player's hips position and their shoulder position. So this particular player, when the hips go back, when you take your hips back, if these are my hips and I take my stride leg and I get it to go back, my hips follow it. And up here is my shoulders and my chest and my head. Because my hips go back, my shoulders go forward. And you can see them leaning forward into that shot. That's critical, very important for you guys to create power. Good shooters, when I see good shooters, and you'll start to see this now because you're hearing this presentation, good shooters look like they explode out of their chest. Everything goes forward, their upper body, their chest, their shoulders, their chin, everything goes forward. So if that goes forward, the hips got to go back. And that's what sets your foundation. To get those hips to go back, you have to get into the stride formation. And you can see here, there's Segs taking a shot. Hips are back, shoulders are forward because that leg goes back. But not the only way to shoot. But this is what gets you, every player, into their own set position. That's what's important to me. It's important that you guys understand that, hey, I'm not sure what they do in Scotland, but I know here when you get in big trouble with the police, I'm talking big trouble, you go down to the station and then they do something. And you know what they do so that they can identify you? Hey, Finley Sayers, can you unmute your mic for a second, Finn?
Yeah.
I got a question for you. If you're a bank robber and you go down and the police catch you and they take you down to the police station and you go there, what do they do to you so they can identify you? Take a picture and what else? What do they do?
Take your thumbprint.
Yeah, they take your thumbprint. That's exactly it. Thanks for the answer. And you know what? Now you can mute your mic again because I'm scared you're going to sneeze. So, yeah, so you know what? Like, think of this. Every single one of you guys out there, including the coaches, when we take our shots and we get into that stride formation, our formation and that posture level, the way we look is it's only for us. We are like fingerprints. We can't get into someone else's formation because we're all different. Do you guys agree? Give me the thumbs up if you agree. Yeah, exactly. We're all different. So my job is to help you guys to get into that formation and align you as best as possible so it is beneficial for you. The things you do comes out positive. All the results you're trying to achieve are all positive results. Right? Makes sense, guys? So let me like get into a little bit of terminology stuff. There's some, because a lot of people out there have terminology as a righty, this is my top hand. As a lefty, this is my top hand. I have a bottom hand on the other side, but I have names for them. And I wanted to share with you what those particular names are. Okay, now.
Tim, sorry, there's a wee button down the left-hand side. If you've got any audio, you can tick share audio and it comes down when you hit share screen.
Okay, perfect.
Just if you get any audio.
Thank you very much. You see, the one thing that COVID has done for me, everybody, it's made me a little bit more tech savvy, but I need as much support as possible because I do my best work when I'm on the ice. So check this out. So the top hand on your stick, I call it a grip hand. So the grip, if you think of this, when you're playing hockey or you're training or doing shooting, you never, like, here's a little stick I got here, here's a little stick I got here. And that top grip hand goes here on the top like this. But if you're playing hockey and you're doing something, it's rare that you ever take that top hand off. That top hand stays on there because it controls your stick. You can move it around with your top hand when you're trying to, maybe get your stick into a shooting lane, reach for something. Your bottom hand's the one that comes off. So this gives stick control. You can see that. And when you shoot, it does a pulling motion. It pulls back. And that's why I was referencing everybody's elbow out there, because if your elbow is not elevated, if it's in tight, it's hard. It kind of like, it interferes with your pulling action. So the top hand, I call it a grip hand. If you get the opportunity to work with me one day, and I hope we do, I would look forward to that. I'm going to come over to you and say, hey, what's that top hand called? And I want you all to say, that's my grip hand, Coach Turk. That's my grip hand. So I'm having trouble hearing you. I've been saying that forever. That's been my thing forever. The top hand's a grip hand. Now, that pulling action, it creates this this big word on the puck. It's called velocity. I'm sure you guys have heard the word velocity before. It's like speed. It equals speed. So the quicker that pulling motion is, the faster the puck moves. So your grip hand controls the speed of the puck. It's a combination with the other one. Your bottom hand, you can see here, I call it the power hand. It does a pushing motion. It creates force. So it creates power. So I call it the power hand. And we want to try and push down. Downward pressure instead of forward or upward pressure. Because think of this. If you push forward, it still makes the stick move, but we're not getting what we need out of the stick. We're not getting the downward pressure to create a little bit of flex. And I'm sure you guys have heard your coaches say, guys, you got to flex your sticks when you shoot, because that's what's going to help the stick to get that kick return and more power into your shot by making that stick flex. And you have to ensure to push down. There's like so many things that we can talk about, and I'm going to help you to remember when you guys get out to the ice and in practice, or when you shoot at home or whatever you do. Now, you can see here, downward trajectory. That means pushing down to create flex. Then I got here the power arm. So connected to your power hand is your power arm. For righties, it's your right arm. For lefties, it's your left arm. I'd like you guys, when you're pushing down, I call it lock your elbow. So if I take a shot and my arm is like this, it's not locked. I got to get to go straight so that I can activate certain muscles to help that power creation to benefit my shot, to support it, to support my shot. That makes sense? So grip hand pulls, power hand pushes. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I know one thing, that if I got one hand here and I got my other hand here really close, we talked, Coach Kinger and I were talking, he asked me if I played golf, and I mean, you can't take a slap shot with your hands really close together. You got to separate your hands. It's got to be a certain position on the shaft for the type of shot that you take. And what we want to try and do is this big word here, consistency, being consistent. Coaches really like it when you guys are playing consistent on a positive level. So that also is the same with the hand position for the type of shot you take. You got to put your hand in a good position to get a really good result. And we want that to be consistent, or I do. I want that to be consistent. Now, the fourth point here, it's kind of, to me, it's like a rule of thumb. I try not to sacrifice anything when I'm shooting a puck. And I try and explain that to all the players I work with, whether you're 8 years old, you're 18, 28, or in, some players' cases, 38 years old, who are still having fun playing the game. Your hand speed dictates puck speed. The faster you move your hands, the faster the puck's going to move, if it's prepared properly and in a good position. And that's what we want to try and touch on and go over in this actual presentation. So remember, you talked about this one here, the last one. I probably said it a bunch of times during the actual video that you guys saw. Hands need to be away from the body for that range of motion. And your grip arm, the top hand, the grip hand, that elbow needs to be up and elevated, because that'll expand your range of motion. And that'll help you to control the puck more when you're doing that. So these things here, the grip hand, the power hand, the power arm, is just a couple of things I'd like you guys to try and remember, because there might be a time, and it's happened to me many times in the past, where I've done presentations, and then all of a sudden it's like I have a young player come up to me and they're like, hey, Coach Turk, do you remember me? And I'm like, yeah, I remember you. And the player's like, yeah, this is my grip hand and this is my power hand, and I'm so grateful that you taught me that. I'm hoping I can experience that with you guys as well, to be able to work with you in person at one point. Now, Is there any questions? And Marty, you got anything you want to add, or Code Bear? You guys want to add anything at all? You want me just to keep on going? Is there anything I'm missing?
I don't think so. I think we just keep going, Tim. It's great.
Okay.
Keep going, Tim.
Great. Now, you know, if you want me to touch on something, if the coaches want me to touch on something, the parents or anything, you know, just put up their hand and I'll address something, because I don't want to miss anything. But we can also get the opportunity. Probably, I'm thinking to do this again in the future. We'll see how things go here. Now, so let me just get back to this reiteration on this stride formation. I wanted to bring something up here. So here's a diagram of the stride formation, and this will give you guys a little bit of knowledge as to what I look for when I'm watching players shoot. Now, let's start up here in the top right. And you've heard me say this probably the most is having an elevated elbow to create the range of motion that a player takes to shoot a puck when they're pulling and pushing. An elevated elbow helps you to utilize your stick the way it should be. So going down again from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock here on the right, you see there's a grip hand. The top hand's a grip hand. It pulls straight back. Has to pull straight back. So one of the things that I see that's common, it's not bad, but it just needs to be modified, needs to be enhanced. I'm not going to use the word change. We don't change stuff. We just enhance things. We don't want to make big changes because that makes us young players out there uncomfortable. So the reason why it pulls straight back is, check this out. You know what? Let me use one that's got white tape on it. So you can see the angle of the blade on the ice and the angle of the shaft. That's called the lie of your stick. There's like different kinds of degrees of lie. And you know what? I have the ability to share that information. Let's check this out. So here's what it looks like, guys. Look at this. So you can see what the lie numbers are and what the angle is with the blade on the ice there. So the common numbers of lies are 4 going to 5 to 5.5 or 5.5 to 6. There is a 6.5 and a 7. Those are the most common lies that there are based on the angle. So you can think of this. Check this out. So you can, where those numbers are is where your grip hand goes. So sometimes we may need to make small modified changes or adjustments to your grip hand level to ensure that your stick is flat on the ice. It's got to be flat on the ice when it's out there. So these lie motions, when we're talking about this grip hand pulling straight back like that, if it pulls straight back, then it supports the lie angle of the stick when you're shooting, and that gives more power, quickness, deception, and speed on your shot. That's why the grip hand has to pull straight back. But what happens sometimes is some people pull it down. So when it goes down, you can see it works like a lever. When it pulls down, then it compromises the lie. When we're pulling our stick back and it goes down, it brings the other end up. It works universally. So if I pull it back, it goes forward. I push it forward, it goes back. Push it down, that end goes up, and so on and so forth. So we want to support. It's like a catapult, big, huge catapult operating on an angle, and we need to support the lie. That's why. Now, elbow locking. Whenever you see the word lock in there, locking equals power. When you lock something out, you can create power. Two main joints you can lock. You can see them here. There's your elbow joint. So righties, it's your right arm. Lefties, it's your left. When you're pushing down, you got to push down. And the other joint that locks is your stride leg knee. Got to get that to go in a straight line. Commonly, some players don't lock out. Then when they start working on the activations of what muscles it takes to get those to go in a straight line, to get your elbow to lock out, then that's when you start creating power and you start feeling better about yourself. Building more confidence. Self-built confidence is the best confidence out there because you're the person that has to do it. So when you start doing all these things, guys, then you're going to start to create more power. And guess what? as a shooting coach, you'll probably shoot more. And coaches love me for that. So that's what we're trying to get at here. If you see any snapping words, so snapping, if locking equals power, and when you snap body joints and parts, then you're giving something some speed, some quickness. So you can see here the hip snaps as you're taking a shot in stride formation. The wrists, you can see here, probably right about 3 o'clock on your screen. You can see me circling that. Both wrists snap at the same time. And what that wrist snap action does, it rotates your stick like this. So you're taking a shot, and all of a sudden, just as the puck's leaving the blade, you activate your wrist snap. Boom. So it does like a little. And what do you think that makes the puck do? Makes it spin more. And the more the puck spins, oh, you know what? I got a question. Here. Marty, I got a question. So,
go for it, Tim.
You guys ever heard of a thing called a frisbee?
Yeah.
You guys got frisbees in Scotland?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No.
All right. What about boomerangs? You got boomerangs out there?
No, that's Australia.
Okay, got it. Then yeah, we'll leave that to the Aussies. So, but think of this. Put up your hand. Hey, Adam Paisley, number 8. Adam Paisley, number 8. And he's like, oh, shit. I'm going to get questioned here. Now, big trouble. Yeah. Unmute your mic for me. Unmute your mic. Say hello, fella.
Hello.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Of course, yeah.
You ever thrown a rock across the water trying to make it skip across the water? You ever done that?
Yeah.
You've done that? You got rocks in Scotland?
Yeah.
So tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. If that rock does not spin, it ain't going to skip. Am I right?
Yeah, correct.
So the more spin you create on that rock, the more it skips across the water. You agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. I was just making sure because I wasn't sure, And it's the same thing with a hockey puck. If you guys are making that thing spin more, if you make the puck spin more, it's going to go farther and faster. And part of that way to make it spin is by creating that wrist snap action at the end of your shot release to rotate the puck and make it spin more. Thanks for answering those questions, Pace. I appreciate that. So let me go back. Let me go back just for a second because there's a couple of things. I don't mean to talk your ears off, but it's important that you guys see this. So all these things all come together, and I'm going to give you guys, like, if I got a chance, I'll give you some homework to utilize your hand positions and your motion patterns. But I just want to show you the stride leg. This particular player is a righty, and the right leg's going back. That's called the stride leg. Then you got a glide foot. Now, for all of you players out there or coaches that are skating coaches, check this out, guys. I know I teach shooting because I want players to like me. Skating coaches, it's just a little kind of different a little bit, but if you don't work on your skating, if you don't enhance that, if you don't try and maintain or improve your skating technique, then your puck skills and confidence is going to stay the same. It's going to plateau. So I'm here to tell you, if you work on other skills, it's going to help enhance your puck skills and your shooting when you work on your skating, if that makes sense. So this particular player's, remember we talked about alignment? So look at this player's glide foot. You see that glide foot, how it's completely aligned with the target? We call that on the flat edge. And then here's a comparison. Check this out. Let's go back to the first picture here. Is this particular player's glide foot, there's their stride leg. First of all, the knee's not locked out yet. But is this particular player's glide foot aligned really well, or is it like on the inside edge? You can see it on the inside edge right there. You guys see that in relation to this one here? Look at this one. You see the alignment difference? How this particular player looks so much more square to the target. So if you get your blade of your front foot or your glide foot on a certain edge, and it's not flat or neutral, if it gets on an edge, what's it make you do? Makes you what? Makes you turn. So coaches out there, when you see those players getting into the stride formation, and the righty, you've probably seen this already. Barry, you've probably seen this player take a shot, they're a righty, and then all of a sudden they'll turn to the right after. The lefties will turn to the left. And that is because they have overactivated their front foot. So here's a righty that's probably right after the shot going to turn to the right because he's activated on that particular inside edge. And that is something to look for. But if you think of this stuff is all common, guys. It's all common stuff. It's just things that need to be modified and fixed and corrected, and then you can work on it. But I have another question. I got to ask somebody a question here. Hey, McAllister, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it. You sure you want a question? This is a tough question, man. This is like it's like the worst question ever. It's the hardest one on it that you'd ever get on a test. You ready for this question?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm a professional NHL level shooting and scoring coach. And if I work with you for 1 hour, just like we're doing our presentation here for about an hour or so, should I teach you 1 or 2 things to work on, or 1 or 200 things to work on in an hour? What do you think? Yeah, 1 or 2. Are you going to be able to remember 100 name things to work on in an hour?
No.
Could be difficult, wouldn't it? Thanks for answering that question, Mac. I appreciate that. So one of the things that we want to do is just work on a couple of things at a time. So if you're one of those players that turns after you shoot, then we got to find a way to get your body lined up a little bit better. That's all. That's what we want to try and do when it comes to that kind of stuff. So one more thing on that before I go ahead. Now, this is a really good visual to keep in mind when it comes to that stride shot release. And that's what I would highly, highly recommend. Whenever I work with people, I'm constantly reiterating this formation because, like I said, this is the fingerprint formation for you. Get your hips back, your shoulders and chest forward. And this rhyme is nose over toes. Nose over toes. And then that elevated elbow, which allows for you to pull your grip hand straight back and get downward pressure or push down with your power hand and power arm. So let me make sure that we don't have any questions out there. So Kinger or Bear, you guys have any questions at all so far?
Nope, not for me.
Okay, so I can keep her going here. So there's a few questions. Rhodes has asked a question, and Harrison. We can get to those. We can get to those questions a little bit later. And that's excellent that some of those questions are coming in. Just remind me to get to that chat, Marty, when we get there.
Yep.
So I just wanted to give you guys a visual. I know you're younger players, but it doesn't matter how young or how old you are. There's all kinds of different things to help you benefit when you see stuff. Now, here's a picture of what pretty much happens when you guys are taking that stride shot. So this is an isolation. A lot of other things are going on, but I wanted to isolate the big muscles that help you to create power when you're locking out your elbow, which is here. You're locking out your elbow right here, or when you're locking out your knee. So one of the things that I'd like to reiterate is there's this common thing going on about how you get strong or how you get fast, how you think quicker, how you become more agile, reaction and stuff like that. And it all points to this off-ice training and what you do to prepare to get on ice. And I'd like to make a comment about that. You know, this particular player that I put up here, this player right here, Brendan Gallagher. He is one of the smallest players on the Montreal Canadiens, but when he does his testing, he's one of the fastest, strongest, and quickest and explosive ones. Because when he goes to do his off-ice training, whether it's in a gym, in a field, on the beach, stuff like that, he knows that he's going to benefit from everything he does off-ice and transition. You guys ever heard of that word transition? Like going right to left, left to right, offense to defense, defense to offense, pivoting, all that kind of stuff, angling, transitioning back and forth. You know, the most important form of transition is taking what you learn and applying it to your game. That's a big part of transition. So look at these big muscles in your arm, bicep and tricep. You activate those. When you activate them, that gets your arm to lock out. You got to feel it, guys. You got to feel. You got to be. I got to add power to my shot. I got to lock my elbow. I got to work on my bicep, my tricep, to allow that to happen. And it's the same thing like the lower body muscles. These are like the three biggest muscles that are in the same area to help you to, number one, get power on your shot, lock out your knee, and to help in your skating stride too. Like you can see this particular player here. I keep going back to this player with his alignment. You can notice there's tension in the activation that gets his hips to snap, his glute, his quad, and his hammy is all activating to get that knee to lock out in the skating stride or the stride formation release. You got your, I call it a toilet. That's your gluteus maximus. And I don't know the name for the hamstring, the biological name for the hamstring, but there's your quadricep with the hamstring. And when you do activate those in that formation, it'll help you to add power, whether you're shooting the puck or not. So I highly recommend doing it if you can. And what I mean by doing it is working on it off the ice, working on it on the ice, and activating them, activating those muscles. Tell yourself when you go into practice, today, every time I shoot, I'm going to lock my arm. Just one thing. When it's time to shoot, do your drills. When it's time to shoot or pass, lock your arm. I'm going to lock my arm today. And then tomorrow, I'm going to lock my knee. I'm going to push down. You're going to have all these little things, one thing to work on when you're doing, just one thing to think about, because the coaches need to help you to be systematical, tactical, reactionary, but you can have a personal thought when you go and practice, and it only needs to be one. And if you forget, write it down. Get a marker and put it on the end of your stick right here. LMA. Lock my arm. And then you'll remember to do that. And it might sound tedious, but all the players that I've ever worked with and still work with, they do it and have done it, all that stuff. So that's really important to me that you guys understand that as coaches and players, that formation, the stride formation, is probably one of the most important formations that's going to set your fingerprint as a athlete or hockey player when you're taking that shot. Then you can work on all the other shots when you're doing that. And so any questions, guys? Any questions before we go on?
Lynch, you get any questions, Barney?
Marty, I'm thinking I might go 5 minutes past the hour. Is that okay?
Right. That's all right. We've never been just an hour yet, Tim.
Okay, good then. Good, because I'm gonna keep her going. I think these players that I can't see them, they're probably sleeping. I hope I'm not putting them to sleep here.
No, they're all very engaged. We're watching them. They're all very engaged, Tim.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so you know what? I just wanted to show something about getting ready to shoot. This is an illustration coming up that's going to hopefully help you guys to have a visual on the ice and think about, when you're skating with the puck, where you're carrying it and how important it is to efficiently get ready and prepare. There's a lot of phases to shooting. You got to have it in the right spot before you shoot, and you got to recognize the target, and then you have to have control of your body when you're shooting, And that's why we're going through all this stuff. So check out this illustration here, guys. I'll show you this illustration. I try and keep it as basic as possible, but like if I'll kind of go through this. If you're a righty like me, and righties are the best, righties are the best. Anyway, okay, lefties suck. I'm kidding. So you can see here when you're going down the ice, these are your skate blades, these two red lines here, and the direction you're going in is forward. When you just put your stick down naturally in front of you, it goes like in front of your toes, like you're taking a hockey picture. Lefties, it goes in front of your left foot, like just there somewhere ahead, depending on the height of your stick. And you stick handle it while you're skating down the ice in that position, kind of like in between 12 and 1 o'clock, or as a lefty somewhere between 11 and 12, or right on 11 or right on 1. Just depends on, and like I said, everyone's different. You're your own fingerprint. So where that puck is being handled when you're going linear or in a forward in a straight line is different for everybody, but it's the same for you all the time. So now check this out. So now I need to get this puck ready to shoot because I've just recognized the target that I need to pass to or shoot to. So now I got to take this puck from in front of my body and I got to load it up or prepare it to beside my body. So a common mistake, or something that's kind of common that players do, and coaches, you probably see this, is they'll overload the puck past their body behind them, which makes their arms like reach way over here to take their shot. But the reason they're doing that is because they got this sense of power that the more I load it, the more power I can induce in it. And you players out there, I want to make a comment about how your arms operate versus your body. Now, if I put my arms straight out, kind of like branches on a tree, if you climb up that tree and you walk out on the branch, the further out you get on that branch, the further out you get on the branch gets weaker at the end. If the tree trunk's here and you go out here, it gets weaker. So it's like your arms are your extremities, your arms and legs. The further away you take them away from your core, your body, the weaker that they operate. Plus, when we're shooting, if we take it far away, we're going away from the target too while we're heading towards it. So we want to make sure we take it to a good prepared position. So here's what I'd like you guys to try and work on is when you're loading the puck, getting ready to shoot, don't take it past the heels of your feet, whether you're going across the net target or towards the net target. That's an overloaded puck, I call it. You can see it down by 8 o'clock, by just past 9 o'clock. That's overloaded. But if it happens, it's okay. You just want to modify it. You want to make a change. Next time you do it, just bring it up a little bit before you shoot. And then bring it up a little bit more after a week so that you can get to an ideal loading position, which is beside your body. Kind of like 9 o'clock for lefties or 3 o'clock for righties. Now check this out. This is one of the hardest things for me to explain because I like to demonstrate it too. But if you look here by 1 o'clock, in between 1 and 2 o'clock, everybody, I have this, what I call the release phase area. So no matter how far back you load the puck, no matter where it starts from, it usually leaves from the same area. For lefties, just in front of 10 o'clock, between 10 and 11, sometimes a little bit farther up, you know, depending how advanced you are. But the common release phase area for a righty is like between 1 and 2 o'clock. So that's where the puck leaves your blade. That's the pushing motion. So I'll show you this here, guys. So here you are at 3 o'clock, and then you push up, and then the puck leaves your blade, and your wrist snap after that. Just between 1 and 2 o'clock as a righty, or 10 and 11 o'clock as a lefty. So what if this? What if you're a righty and you kind of, instead of controlling the puck where you're used to in front of your body, now you just kind of move that puck over a little closer to the release phase area. So if you have to load it and you're reloading it from the release phase, if you're carrying it in the release phase area and you did have to load it and you loaded it beside your body, look at the distance difference between your common spot that everyone controls it all the way back to an overloaded position or an ideal one. It's still longer than it would be from the release phase area if you have to load it, and it's okay to load it. But if you don't load it and it's in the release phase area, then it's probably going to be really beneficial for you to shoot it from where it releases from. And I call it less load, more explode, because you can shoot the puck from your release area. We just have to work on shooting it from there, practicing that, lessening the load by small increments and stuff like that. So these little things can help you to not only prepare differently, but they can help you to lessen the time it takes to get the puck to the target, create more deception. It might feel awkward. I'll show you a couple of drills you can work on at home that can help you with that. And that'll bring me to this positioning here. So here's Brendan Gallagher just before COVID started. Look where the puck's located there. It's located in his release phase area. Now, we're isolating a lot of different things here. Watch when he gets down and gets ready to shoot. The first thing he does is lifts his elbow up. So you see how he lifts his elbow up there, guys? And that creates that range of motion. That's the pulling straight back action. The puck is already now, in this particular shot release, Brendan's working on a snapshot release. You can see the distance between his blade and the puck. So obviously this is, most people call this a snap release, a snapshot release. I call it white ice because the ice between the puck and the blade is white. And for players, it's different. You'll see him start to lessen that. But let me let him shoot a few so you can see his motion patterns and where he sets the puck up in his release phase zone. So this is virtually no loading. He doesn't pull it back at all. But it's okay when you're training to have the puck on your stick and release it in a wrist shot style as well. But this particular video shows him snapping it. Watch this. Let me back this up a bit. I'll let it go for a few.
Doing one shot. You ready?
Stick was closer that time. Now these particular drills, this particular drill here, I really like this drill. There's a reason for it. Now, one of the things that is important with this particular drill is it isolates your body position, guys. So I would recommend doing that drill because you cannot transfer your body weight. If you need to load it to 3 o'clock if you're a righty or 9 o'clock if you're a lefty beside your body, then you can do that when you're facing the net and get close to the net, because when you don't load the puck like you're used to, there's a couple of things that you feel. Number one, what you might feel is you might feel the loss of power. Number two, you might feel like you're losing timing because you can't transfer your weight, but it just isolates your hand positioning and works on those particular motion patterns when you're trying to shoot a puck, when you do that. So let me go back to that one more time, just so you can see exactly what I'm talking about.
You're doing one shot. You ready?
Bends down, hips back, shoulders forward, elbow out, and then there's the quick release. Can't move his body. Now again, remember, if you want to load the puck back a little further, maximum loading is to the heels. Ideal loading is by the middle of the feet. This is him shooting the puck in his release position, where the puck is being released from. So he wants to save time. He's doing that. Now, the other comment I wanted to make was, If you watch his grip hand, the top hand, remember this is the grip hand, that's the power hand, that's the power arm. If you watch this grip hand, it's a quick pulling action. He's not using the whole range, he's just using a little bit of it. But because he has that range, it allows him to be deceptive when he's working on his shot. So I think that's very important for you guys to understand the main concepts. So if I'm going to review stuff, one of the things that I would say is remember the stride formation. Righties, right leg back, lefties, left leg back. The stride formation is the foundation to you guys doing other stuff. So picture this. If this particular player, if he brought that right foot up before he shot and didn't do anything with his feet, he'd be shooting like Brendan Gallagher just did his training shots. That's both feet facing the target, but he'd still be low because his hips are set in that position. If he brought this foot in, his right foot in, and lifted his left foot off the ice, because a lot of players shoot with single leg with one foot off the ice, and I can show you a picture of what that looks like, but you got to still stay low. You got to stay low. So here, you know, here's Brendan Gallagher now and a single leg formation. But you see his hips are back, his shoulders are forward, he's leaning in, getting the bend on the stick. That's important. It's important to maintain that particular posture when you're doing that. And there's Kucherov. And you saw them in their stride formation. Now you're seeing them in their single leg. But they're not compromising their posture level or their alignment because they've worked so hard on the stride formation to set the foundation to shoot. And that's what we're trying to do, trying to deceive. So those visuals should allow you guys to be able to work on a few things when you're doing your training, when you get on the ice, and you're going to have a purpose. But to me, I think the main focus of this whole presentation is for me to allow you to visualize how important the stride formation is. And then if I go back to the video one more time before we get to the questions, sorry to talk your ears off, fellas, but if you get back to the video and you can see these stride formation releases, I have a little bit of data or data, however you guys call it, to reiterate why the stride formation is so important in the actual shooting. Now when Vanek comes in here, he's just on the single leg. There's these guys taking their stride shots, which is important. And this is Vanek going from an outside preparation and putting it over top. But this particular formation right here, guys, okay, hang on a second. I gotta ask someone a question. Hang on. Ryan, are you watching? Unmute your mic, buddy. Unmute your mic.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever heard this word? You ever heard of percentages?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I gave you a birth year, well, what's your birth year, man? When were you born?
2007.
2007. Holy smokes. So since 2003, so it's like, I think that's 4 years ahead of you, like when you were kind of like just being thought of. And then all of a sudden in 2003, since then until now, I think that's like, I don't know how many years that is. 2003 until 2021. That's like, do you know how many years that is, Ryan? How's your
20.
math? Yeah. Did you say 19?
18.
18 years. Yeah, 18. See, I thought it was 19. I was wrong. Thanks. So for 18 years now, since I've been taking all this information about the stride formation, that particular stride formation produces or gets more than 70% of all initial shot goals scored at the NHL level. Would you agree that 70% is high or low?
Yeah, I'd agree. It's high.
Yeah, it's high, Ryan. Yeah, thanks for answering those questions for me, buddy. I appreciate it. So that's another reason why I teach the stride formation as a foundation to shooting, because it produces the most initial shot goals when taken. But that doesn't mean it's the only way to score. There's 30 other percent that we need to work on and utilize as well. Hey, Crawford. Hey, hey, what's that team you got there? What's that B? What's that B for?
Boston.
You know what's going to happen? You take that shirt off, you're going to have a big burn on your chest from that logo. You know that, right? That poo-poo team. I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. I work with a lot of players on the Bruins too. So, and all the players that you guys saw here today that were highlighted in the videos and the illustrations, I work with. So that's pretty cool too. So I'd like to, maybe I'll turn it over to you. I don't know how you want to handle this, Kinger. How do you want to do it as far as the questions are going there?
Yeah, I think we've just got a couple of questions in the chat, Tim. So, you know, as long as you've got time, have you got some time?
I do have some time, yes.
Yeah, because we could go and listen to that all night. It was good. Lynchy, I don't know, you want to do the questions?
Is it my turn this week?
It's your turn this week.
No problem. Okay.
Agree.
First one, Tim's from Brody K. Hi, I watched your recent Instagram live with Satoshi. Am I saying that right? Satoshi?
Yeah.
About cognitive development. Here in Scotland, I haven't really worked on that in training. Do you think it really does benefit players for shooting and accuracy?
Yes. You know what, Brody, man, that's a great question, because to me, like thought processes, when you can elevate the thought process of getting your body to do a motion pattern, once you recognize something that needs to be done, then enhancing those visuals into the actual motion pattern is going to just allow you to create a lot better situation for yourself, and the decisions that you make will come quicker. So if you could find someone, or just, I'm not sure if Satoshi has anything online that you can that can help you, but there's got to be someone in Scotland that's working, because you guys have, I don't know what, you guys have a lot of different technology that I think someone will be able to help you with for sure. But that's a great question. It can, as far as the accuracy part is concerned, to me being accurate, and this is just a quick little answer, but at the non-pro level, and like up to, it doesn't matter how old you are, if we're playing 5-on-5 hockey and we see a target that we want to hit, if we can get to within a 2 foot, like almost like, I guess, just 3/4 of a meter, you guys know metric, I think, like if you can get just under a meter square taking your shot, whether there's pressure or no pressure, then I would call you being pinpoint accurate, whether that box is outside the target or close to it. Then you start elevating all the way up through that actual target gets smaller. And at the NHL level, now it's 6 inches. So it's like 22 to 25 centimeters. If you can shoot while you're in a game in that little box, then you're pinpoint accurate. And usually at that point, you're making $5 million plus a year or more when you can do that under pressure. So that's a great question. What's the next one there, Lyncher?
The next one we've got is from Harris. Harris is one of our most inquisitive kids. He asks a lot of questions. And this is a chance for you to do a little name drop or two, Tim, of people that you've worked with. Who's your favorite player that you've coached or worked with?
So, man, what a great question again. I get to gloat a little bit, and I've shared on this screen one of my favorite players is Brendan Gallagher. The reason why he's one of my favorite players is because he's probably the best example of a professional athlete that I've ever had the opportunity to meet and work with. He's just he's contagious when it comes to the work ethic of things, the competitiveness of things, his ability to apply something new, wanting to improve every day. just having an open mind to a lot of things, you know, and it's important that, you know, when you guys are learning things, some people might introduce stuff to you that you might not believe in, and that's okay. It's okay that there's stuff or maybe if there's another shooting coach and I'm saying something that you feel is opposite, that's okay, but it's important you communicate it. It's important that you say, hey, well, so-and-so says I'm doing this, and you're saying I need to do that. And then both people that you're learning from with your path to development, no matter what your coaching is, we need to have reasoning as to why we're teaching the things we teach. And if we do, then it's just going to make you trust us all that much more. And then you can take what you're learning from us and make it your own. You don't have to do it all. So, but my favorite player is Brendan Gallagher. I have a lot, Steven Stamkos, Max Pacioretty. I have a list of players, but the number one, if I had to choose one, it would be Gally. It'd be Brendan Gallagher because he gives me energy when I work with him. Great question. What do we got next there, Lyncher?
We've got, well, Raymond Simpson's asked a question, but you actually answered it earlier in your presentation where he was asking where would you recommend the puck position to be to get the best contact and release, but we've covered that one. Dwayne is asking, what's your view about the importance of practicing accuracy versus power? Is it more important to master one first or develop them both simultaneously?
Oh, man, that guy's going to work with me one day. Dwayne, so check this out. There's this importance of body control, you know, to get off a good shot with all like optimum power, deception, and accuracy. What you do with your body before the shot, during the actual shot release, and after the shot is going to be contingent or help to build that power and accuracy. So it's kind of like a catch-22 when I answer this type of question when you're deciding to create more power versus accuracy. So the one thing I would never ask a player to do is in a game situation is sacrifice something to hit a target. We don't want to sacrifice power. We don't want to sacrifice quickness or vision to get a target. We want to try and add as much tension rate control as we can, put out as much power and quickness and deception as possible to get the target. If we miss the target or if we're off, then we have to register why or what happened. You know, you think of this, guys, if your players out there, and I'm going to go on record and say the word hate, but dislike. I hate goalies. So if there's any goalies out there, it's not the person I dislike. It's the position, because goalie coaches are wearing lab coats nowadays when they're teaching goalies how to stop pucks. But if you're a goalie, and you guys have seen goalies, there's more players than goalies. When the puck comes in, it hits them here, and the puck goes this way, they get right over to that side, and they seal their post as quick as possible because they're tracking what's happening. They're registering what's going on after the puck does something. So as players, we got to do the same. We need to register what the puck does after the shot's taken so that we can produce more power and accuracy next time. But if our body's not in control before, during, and after the shot, then it's going to be somewhat difficult to even create power and accuracy. Hopefully that makes sense.
Okay. Ross and Crawford have got a quick one. Hi, Tim. Can you talk a bit about what Austin Matthews does with his shot release? What is it he changes?
100%. 100%. So I'll show you something here. I might even have a little bit of a visual here. I'll see if I can find that guy. He's usually up around here somewhere to be found. So here's Austin Matthews, and one of the things that he does really well, guys, is and remember I made a comment about, you know, more than 90% of the time when lefties shoot, they bring the puck inward. So you can see here he's bringing the puck inward where his vision is located. But what he does really well is he's got the ability to read when the shooting lane opens up, the timing it takes to take the release and change the angle of the puck when he does so. So when he changes that angle, it does two things. It raises anticipation levels, It changes the goalie's positioning or the shot lane position to get it through. That's important too. But also what he does is he messes with the timing of the formation. See, he's got his left leg back, the stride formation. His alignment's really good. So what he'll do is, what Austin Matthews will do is, if he has the opportunity to shoot, he's got a high rate of speed built up, a lot of momentum, then he'll get his stride leg to go back and he'll glide in that position. So a lot of players, what they do is when the shot's taking place, they also, so everything's synchronized. They're shooting while they're striding, Croft. That's what they're doing. So in Matthews' case, he'll get his leg back and delay. And then everybody will go, are you going to shoot? And all of a sudden it's like, oh, crap. He did shoot because he changed the angle and he was very deceptive with what he did. And he changed the timing. But his alignment was good. His momentum was good. His angle change was good. So it's really, really important for you guys to know that to model your game around a player that you really like is okay. But what I'd like you to do is I'd like people to model their game around you. That's the fingerprint we're looking for. You don't want to be that person. You want someone to be you because you have the ability to create a signature for yourself. That's a great question. Really good question, Croft. Thanks for asking that. What else we got out there, Lyncher?
We've got Rudy McAllister's looking for a couple of little hints and tips on when you're taking backhand shots.
Okay, so I've been working with Steven Stamkos, Jason Spezza, and Brendan Gallagher now for over 12, 13, 14 years. And we haven't even worked on a backhand yet. And here's why, because we're to me, backhand shooting, there's a misconception. You know, when you go in really close and then you go forehand to backhand and you do a little quick, I call it a chip, you kind of bring it across your body and then do a little, that's not a backhand shot in my opinion. A backhand shot's like a forehand wrister. So everything's opposite. Everything happens opposite. In a forehand shot, your grip hand's pulling in and your power hand's pushing out when you take that shot. In a backhand shot, it's opposite. Now your grip hand's pushing and your power hand's pulling out. What players forget to do in the backhand is they forget to push the grip hand out. They're just pulling with their power hand to shoot and they're rotating their body when they're doing that shot. They're not pushing out. So that's one little thing I can give you, but I rarely work on backhands with players unless it gets requested from them specifically or the coaching staff.
Okay. Scott Campbell is asking, is your favorite player, Brendan Gallagher, going to win the cup this year? Scott,
Nope.
I could actually answer that. No, he's not.
Nope. You know what? I wish they would. And I mean, I used to be a contracted management team on the coaching staff. I'm not that anymore. I'm like a consultant, so I can work with all different teams if I want to. So I guess I'm never going to win a Stanley Cup either. But with that being said, I mean, it is super difficult to win a Stanley Cup. A lot of criteria has to take place, you know, and one of the things that I feel in all my time being involved at that level is it's not just about having the best players. It's about having the best camaraderie, the best team. Your players support each other, you know, and an example would be this. You know, when you're doing a drill and you're coming down and all of a sudden you get an extra hard pass that you're not used to and you lose control of it and you're like, oh, damn it, now I don't get my shot. And no one passes a puck to you to finish the drill. And then all of a sudden you lose your turn because no one supported you. That means no one's paying attention. Man, when I go out and work with teams and if I see someone make a mistake and it's, to me, is it okay to make mistakes, guys? Anything can be fixed. Anything can be fixed. But when I see someone make a mistake when they're going down to shoot, and all of a sudden I see 6 pucks go flying in their feet because all their teammates are trying to help them to finish the drill, that is what a good team does. Is they support each other. They're paying attention at all times with what's going on. And I always recommend observe each other. Observe what your teammates are doing because it's going to help you to do things better or do things you don't want to. That's what's important. Great question.
Okay, Tim, we've got 2 or 3 more here. Zach Docherty is asking, what's your favourite off-ice drills for practicing shooting?
Have you ever heard of Santa Claus? Guys, everybody here heard of Santa Claus? Yeah, Harris, you heard of Santa Claus? Can I ask you a question, Harris?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, you know that Santa Claus has a list, right?
Yeah.
And he's got to deliver to every kid, and I'm a kid too. I love Santa Claus. He's got to deliver to every kid around the world. So is that list long or short?
Long.
So I don't have a favorite drill because they're all the best. My drill list of favorite drills, guys, is like Santa's list. It just depends on what you need. It depends on what you need to work on, and we'll see. We'll make sure that you guys get what you need. That's for sure.
Okay, thank you. David McInnes is asking, oh, this one's been asked already. Who's the best player you've worked with? So we've covered that one.
Well, my favorite player there, Lyncher, was my favorite player, I'd say, is Brendan Gallagher, but I don't know who the best player would be. I consider, because I feel like I'm working with you guys right now, I get the opportunity to see and present to you that you guys are going to be my best players to work with. You're my opportunity to be able to give information to everybody and hopefully improve you somehow. So that's my answer to that.
Cool. Okay, Harris has got another question. Just a quick one. Have you ever heard of Liam Kirk, the Arizona draft pick from Sheffield?
Yes, I have. I have. If I could remember, I wish I could remember the name of the 2 brothers that brought me to Sheffield about 8 years ago. Liam was in that. He was in that group. So I've worked in Sheffield, UK, a couple of times, and the last time was, I want to say, I can't remember how long ago, but he was there. And so I have heard of him, yes.
Cool. Okay, we've got 2 more. Finlay Sawyers, what would you use as a kick point on a Marner stick?
Well, Marner's starting to shoot more this year, which is great. I've worked with Marner for a long time. I know him pretty good. As far as the kick points is concerned, I just answered a question on a couple of coaches that were asking about that. One of the things is kick points are based on where your power hand goes, guys. So if your power hand is really low because you're taking a high impact or a fully loaded slap shot, then the kick point kind of minimizes. It gets lower. If you're taking a wrist shot, your power hand's a little bit higher, closer together, then that kick point is a little bit higher in your stick. But if you need a stick based on the type of game you play, so the quicker that you release a puck or the more types of quick release shots you take, then you need a lower kick point. If you load up and you're more of a snapshot style shooter, then a mid kick stick could probably support what you're doing because it supports the impact of the actual blade coming down and hitting the puck. That's a mid kick thing, and a low kick would support a little quicker release when you're taking a shot. That's a great question. So it's just a combination of a few.
Okay, and the last one we've got is from Raymond Simpson. When practicing off ice in sports footwear, would you recommend using a shortened stick to account for lack of skater's height?
Yes, if you have the ability to do that, that's a great question. So matching your posture, stick height with what you are wearing, and sometimes when you get new skates, the blades are a little bit taller than the ones that you had before because you've had them sharpened so many times. And to me, making these minute changes in millimeters, like to me, 1 millimeter is like 1,000,000 kilometers when you're making these changes. So to you parents out there and coaches, if you have a player that keeps the same stick for the whole season, I'd highly recommend that stick growing with the player. Get 5 plugs in, because if they go through growth spurts, how everyone's different with their hereditary traits and how they grow, then the stick needs to grow with them. Just a couple of weeks ago, I had a player and I hadn't seen him in a long time, and the stick was down. I said, "What the heck? What happened to your stick? Is that your backup?" And they're like, "No, I just grew." So the stick needs to grow with you. You need to make sure it matches your body. That's a great question. But if you don't have the ability to have the same stick to cut it to match your not wearing skates, then just always use your game stick, because that's the one that's important. We skipped somebody. Who did we skip?
Did I?
Someone said we skipped somebody. Cooper.
Oh.
Coop says we skipped somebody.
Oh, so we did. Sorry. Cooper's saying, I can now do the Michigan on a holy goalie. What trick do you think I should work on next?
Here, look at this. I'm talking into my microphone. Shoot the puck. Never mind that fancy shit. You can't do it in the pros.
Couldn't agree more. That's all the questions on the chat box. Barry, Martin, you got anything you want to
add? Not from me, Barry. Anything you want to add?
No. I think that was brilliant and really, really engrossing, and probably the kind of technical sort of guidance that I think a lot of folk needed. So yeah, excellent. 2 thumbs up.
You're on mute, Tim. We've lost you, Tim.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can now.
We can now, yeah.
Sorry about that. You know, to me, it's, I mean, I couldn't be more serious about sharing information, because when I'm going through my growth and development, and, I get the chance to get exposed to a lot of what I want to say used to be high-end development people, and they're so secretive. They're so, they hold their cards close to their chest, and, and stuff like that. And to me, I feel like those types of people, they feel like there's no evolution going on. It's their way or the highway, so to speak, or, some of those terms that we have. So for me, I couldn't be more proud to be able to share information with anyone around the world if it's going to make them a better player or even a better person. So when you're making decisions out there, all you players out there, when you're making decisions, that's your thought process that's coming into play. And just know that your coaches are there because they have a passion to help you to succeed and them to succeed as well. So if there isn't anything else, there might be a few things coming in the chat. I don't want to miss anybody, guys. So if there's anything else, I'm thinking, Kinger, maybe we can circle back. I'd love to have a copy of this presentation with how your players and your coaches and everyone has just been so focused and passionate and patient about me doing all my talking. So I want to say thanks to everybody.
No, Tim, I think it's us that are very grateful for your time and everything you've done tonight. I think it's been really brilliant, just brilliant. I think everybody's really engrossed, really engaged. It's fantastic, Tim. Thanks very much.
Yeah, can't thank you enough.
Yep.
Hey, no, guys, that's what I'm here for. It doesn't end here. If there's any questions, I'm on social media. Your coaches need something, just reach out, and we'll go from there. So thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. All the best. You kids get to bed, get your beauty sleep, and I'm going to go have a snack.
Tim, can you hang on for a wee minute? Just a minute. We'll just to wash up.
Yep, absolutely.
Just before everybody goes, guys, pay attention to the announcements on the website and social media next week. We've got an NCAA coach who is going to give the coaches a webinar on Wednesday night, and then he's also going to be back on Friday Night Live again to chat about different stuff with the players and the kids. Okay, so thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.